Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Coach Aaron Hohlbein from Wisconsin. Coach, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. The University of Wisconsin men's soccer Badgers. You guys have had a pretty good run of things. At least I know last season, a lot of Big Ten wins there. But you got a new coach coming in, so that makes things a little bit interesting. But before we dive into the soccer side of things, let's talk a little bit more about the recruiting process.
Sure.
A lot of kids out there that they've got those Division I ambitions, but aren't maybe quite sure how to best go about it. So when do you guys start really looking and evaluating at players? Obviously 2 days from now is a big day for you guys to be able to start talking. But when are you starting to look at players essentially?
Yeah, we so generally for us, we'll have a list of names that we've kind of gathered from coaching colleagues and club coaches, academy coaches, ECNL, whatever it might be. So we'll have a list of prospects to kind of keep our eye on as freshmen and sophomores. As players kind of move into their sophomore year of high school, we really start evaluating them on the field and their performance on the field, and getting background about them from their coaching staff, from other folks who may know the family or may know the kids. So we compile a list then, and as you said, June 15th coming up here is when we can start contacting those rising juniors. So we'll have a pretty good idea of the type of prospects that we're interested in by the end of that sophomore year, as kind of an initial database. Now, as players enter their junior year, everybody develops at a different time. So we certainly go out and we watch a lot of soccer. We talk to a lot of coaches and figure out the right fits for us here at Wisconsin.
Okay. So in terms of, where you're going to see players, kind of what are some of the can't miss events that you guys go to for recruiting?
Yeah, we're kind of across the board in a lot of different places. We'll for sure get out and see the MLS Next playoffs, MLS Next showcase, ECNL showcase, ECNL playoffs. We were up at the Wisconsin State Cup a couple weeks ago. We go to various showcases, whether it's the Crossroads in Indiana, Blue Chip. We'll watch all sorts of soccer. And another good way that we're able to identify players is our camps. We have a couple ID camps that we run throughout the year. We also spend some time at other universities' ID camps looking to identify players, and various other ways. But really the favorite thing that I like to do is, when possible, is to get out and watch guys train. So we'll take trips, and we'll make trips, specific trips to see guys or see clubs and watch their training as well.
Oh, that's awesome. No, you actually answered my next question around camps, but one thing I noticed, you do have a handful of international guys on your roster. So how does the international recruiting kind of fit into the whole scheme of things?
Yeah, international recruiting has become a lot more popular these last few years. There's no question about that. You see a lot more international players in college soccer, and that's Division I through NAIA. Every division, it seems there's more and more internationals coming over to the States. And generally, through the way that we are connected with players from Europe or other parts of the world is through either a recruiting agency, or individuals will send us their own information, their own CV, highlight videos, and we'll see them that way. We're also fortunate enough to be able to travel overseas and see different showcase events, whether that's Canada, Iceland, Germany, Spain, England. So we're fortunate enough to go and watch players live as well. But really it's through email and guys sending us their academic info as well as a highlight package.
Okay. Well, when it comes to just evaluating players on any of those fronts, kind of for you guys at Wisconsin, what's your hierarchy of things you want to make sure this player does, whether it's on the field or off the field?
Sure. Yeah. It starts off the field. It starts off the field, and number one, academically, Is Wisconsin the right fit for them? Is it a place where they can have success in the classroom and walk out of here with the degree that they want? So academically, they have to check that box. The next thing that we look at right away is personality. And are they somebody who, when we see them train, when we meet them, when we watch them in games, do they have a determination? Do they have a work rate, a work ethic? Are they willing to take coaching? Are they willing to coach their teammates? So we look for leaders. We look for leaders, and that's very important. And then, of course, the next thing is the soccer piece, and that is obviously in the Big Ten Conference, a lot of quality opponents, a lot of quality teams that we play year in, year out, with very good athletes. So we need to find guys who are athletic, who have the right athleticism, the speed, strength, and power. And then we're really looking at the technical, tactical piece of is a guy technical enough to get the job done? Whether each position has their specific skill set that we look for, but technically and tactically, do they understand the game? Do they have a clear path or a clear way that they're instructed to play, and are they following that? But the biggest thing you can tell right away is the guys that work hard.
Okay. Now, the one question that's never fun to talk about, but it's always the first one on everybody's mind, is money.
Mm-hmm.
So and I'm not looking for specifics, obviously, but just kind of give folks an idea of what does the overall financial aid picture look like for most, or an average, or at least a Wisconsin men's soccer player, in terms of how academic money fits in, athletic money fits in, and everything else, to just kind of give a big picture. Because I don't want anybody thinking that, well, you guys are just handing out full rides left and right, because
Sure.
we both know that's not true.
Correct. So we have 9.9 full scholarships for a roster of 28 players. At any given time, we have roughly 15, 16, maybe 17 guys on some sort of scholarship. We don't have any players who are on a full scholarship. That money is 9.9 doesn't go very far when you're talking about 26, 28 players. So we've got a number of scholarship players, and then we've got a number of walk-on players as well. The cool thing that is just coming out here at Wisconsin is being rolled out as part of the Alston suit. The university is going to cut a check for student athletes once they graduate, upwards of $20,000. So if a student athlete comes in and they are on the roster at the time of graduation, they've performed well in the classroom. At the end of as soon as the graduation, they walk across the stage and get that degree. The school's going to pay them for their academic performance, which is pretty special. And then on top of that, each student athlete, whether they're scholarship or not, will get $500 per semester towards living. So the university here is coming up with ways to help take care of student athletes and reward them for their academic pursuits.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right. Well, let's shift gears a little bit, talk a little bit more about the school itself. I think folks are probably familiar with the Wisconsin Badgers, and probably more for Saturday afternoons in the fall.
Sure.
But folks who've never been to Madison or the campus, can you give me a little bit of insight, maybe something that we wouldn't find just by clicking through the website or watching college football?
Yeah. I mean, Wisconsin's been ranked as one of the top, if not the top, college athletic towns in the country. One thing that you maybe wouldn't see as you're kind of scrolling through and looking at the university, that's really unique about Madison and Wisconsin is the university sits on an isthmus between two lakes here in Madison, and also Madison is the state capital. So there's a really unique mix of a city life and a Big Ten university life as well. So it's a perfect blend of, it's not a small campus that is in the middle of a big city, and it's not a big campus that's kind of, just out in the middle of nowhere, which can be great universities like that as well. But the unique thing about Madison is that the university and the city are one and the same. And it's a big enough city where there's always something to do. There's always something going on. But at the end of the day, it's a college town too.
No, it's one of those places I've never been that I keeps being on the list, but hopefully one day we'll get up there. But
for sure.
Well, so in terms of the academic side of things, how do the student athletes really balance that, life between academics and athletics? Kind of what support systems are there to help them on their journey?
Yeah, we're very fortunate in that the University of Wisconsin, their whole goal is to get every single student athlete that degree, and they'll provide endless resources to help them on that path. So we have a whole unit that is devoted to academics. Our team has an academic advisor who sits down with each player and helps them map out their entire college course career, basically, from the day that they say, yep, I want to be a Badger, to the day they're walking across the stage to getting that diploma. They're helping pick classes. They're helping figure out the classes around training times. They're helping set up tutors, which are all paid for by the university. So they really don't leave any stone unturned in terms of what they're able to offer academically to help guys figure out ways to manage their time, to help them maybe improve a grade in a class by helping set up a tutor, to helping guys find ways to take the classes that they're interested in, and that puts them on the path to get their degree.
Okay. Well, a lot of people don't really, unless you've done it, don't necessarily know what a typical day looks like in the eyes of a college athlete. So if we were in season, what would a quote unquote typical week look like in terms of, through the whole week, getting up, practice, classes, games, whatever? What would that look like at Wisconsin?
Sure. So a typical day for our student athletes, they'll get up, and we don't practice until the afternoon. So most guys have classes scheduled in the morning. So they'll get up. They might have 2 classes, maybe 3 classes. They'll go to class in the morning. They might come over to our facility to get their free lunch, which the university provides. So they'll get a free lunch, or hit the nutrition room where they have free smoothies. So they might do that in between classes, maybe go finish class. And then our training block starts at 1 o'clock. So the guys will, after class, they'll go to the locker room, they'll get their gear on. If they need to get treatment in the training room, that's right down the hall. They'll walk down there, get treatment. Then we'll watch probably 30 minutes of film. And then we get out to training probably around 1:45, 2 o'clock, train for an hour, 15 minutes, hour and a half. And then if we have any strength and conditioning, we may add that on the end of training. In season, we don't do a lot of that. And then the guys are free for the night. So that's when they get the majority of their studying done. Some guys maybe have an evening class a couple days a week. And that's kind of the typical day. And now game days and travel days, of course, are a little bit different, but we like to get the classes. Guys have their classes done in the morning so they can fully focus on training in the afternoon, yet still have time in the evenings to meet with tutors or get their studying done.
Okay. Now, I think most people are probably familiar with what schools are in the Big Ten, and so therefore you do have a bit of traveling there. So what does that kind of look like in terms of traveling for games across the season?
Yeah, the Big Ten obviously has grown in recent years with the addition of some programs. So every year we play home and away. So this fall we'll host 4 teams. We'll go on the road to 4 teams, and then it flips the following year. So for example, this fall we will play at Maryland. So we'll wake up that on the Friday, let's say we play Maryland on Friday, we'll get up Thursday, head to the airport, jump on a plane. Sometimes we're fortunate enough to be able to fly charter. Other times we're flying commercial. We'll fly out to Maryland. We'll train there in the afternoon. Game day is the next day. We'll stay overnight and then wake up, fly back home, and maybe do a regen training session, or that next day's off. Otherwise, we're on the bus. We'll bus down to Northwestern a couple hours down the road. We'll bus over to East Lansing and into Ann Arbor. This year we're actually looking at flying charter over there. So we get around through bus and air, and the travel, it can be long, but really the type of athletes and prospects that are joining us here, they've all already been doing this as youth players with all the travel and school that they have to do anyway. So it's a pretty good easy adjustment for them.
Yeah, it's the travel in youth sports is nuts these days. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, let's shift gears and talk a little bit more on the soccer side. Just when you go on the website, obviously Coach Jones is brand new. You're an alum, but have been there for a while as assistant. You got a new assistant. So what does the soccer staff kind of look like as a whole? Kind of what roles does everybody play on the team?
Yeah. It's obviously I've been here a while now. This will be my 8th season coming up. Neil Jones, the head coach, was just appointed this last January after a very successful stint at Loyola Chicago. And then Andrew Bordelon has joined us from Northern Illinois University, who won the double in the MAC last year. So really strong coaching staff. I think, what Coach Jones brings is a new energy, a new excitement to the program, and Andrew as well. So Andrew is the recruiting coordinator. He kind of sets the recruiting schedule, maybe makes the initial contacts to most recruits. And then Coach Jones, obviously, he runs the whole show. He plans trainings with our assistants. He sets the schedule for the week. He's on the recruiting trail quite a bit. He's on the phone quite a bit with recruits. And then he's the one who sets the vision for the program. So myself, I also am involved in the recruiting process. We all share time on the road, scouting players. We all spend time here on campus, hosting student athletes here. But that usually falls on me to show guys around town, because I've been here a while and I kind of know it inside and out. So that's where I get my biggest joy is showing prospects around town.
I bet. Well, in terms of, I guess it's a little early to say, right? Because you got a new coach, but what would you say based on just the spring season, what the kind of style of play is going to be, the kind of the style of coaching, the culture of the team at this point with the new coach?
Sure. Yeah. And I think the current group of guys has done a really good job of acclimating and adjusting to a new style and a new system of play. Coach Jones brings a very high intensity, hardworking mentality to the group, and the team has really bought into that. So we're a team that is going to be very organized defensively. We're going to be hard to break down. We are going to work to put teams under pressure and to force turnovers in good parts of the field where we can get to goal quickly. And then we give our players in the final third, we give them freedom to make choices and kind of express themselves. But we're going to be very hardworking team. We're gonna have a group of guys who are willing to battle for each other, who are going to do the little things right, that are going to be disciplined, and be incredibly hard to play against. Okay.
In terms of the off season, as we just mentioned, can you just give me a quick snippet of what does an off season look like for a team?
Yeah, it's interesting because the last date of our spring season was April 30th. And then we don't get to work with the guys until preseason starts in August. So a lot of our players will go and play USL League 2 So PDL, they'll find various men's league teams, UPSL. There's a lot of really strong amateur leagues. So our players will usually pair that up with an internship somewhere. So we've got guys in Chicago. We've got guys who are back home in Milwaukee who are playing for men's teams. And then we also have a few guys here on campus who voluntarily do some work with the strength and conditioning coach, or maybe getting treatment for an injury. So yeah, we're hands off until they come back in August, and but they find the highest level possible to play and train over the summer.
Okay. One question that kind of pops up that people are interested in is kind of the use of technology these days, right? So with Trace, getting VOs, and everybody's got their cameras and other things. What kind of technology, if any, do you guys employ on a regular basis, whether it's training, games, or anything like that?
Yeah, so we dabble in the technology side as well, and it can be very helpful. So we utilize GPS and heart rate monitors through VX Sport. So our players wear those in training, they'll wear them in games. We get the data on distance covered, sprints completed, high intensity movements. I mean, you name it, they have a category for it. And along with our strength and conditioning coach, we're able to kind of get an analysis on that data and figure out where we can help make guys better. Another piece that will be added this coming year is a video platform called Spidio, where they're fixed cameras that we'll have on our game field, and a transportable camera that we'll have at our training field. And it maps every single movement a player makes in training or in a game. It'll also monitor distance covered, all the kind of sports science things, as well as breaks down technical and passing percentages, all sorts of different data we'll be able to utilize with that.
Oh, that's pretty cool. All right. Well, Coach, you've given us a lot of info. I really appreciate the time. I always like to end on the same thing, which is, what didn't we talk about? What did we miss? What do you want folks to know that maybe we didn't talk about?
Yeah, we covered an awful lot. And the main thing that I would say for players who are looking at pursuing a career in college soccer is, don't forget that at the end of the day, it's got to be fun, and you have to keep improving as a player. That's the key, is you got to have a drive and a determination to get better as a player. It's very, very difficult to compete at the Division I level, but you get to experience some pretty cool things along the way if you're able to put the work in and are fortunate enough to have that opportunity. So, and Wisconsin is a really unique place to do it. Obviously, I'm pretty biased because I grew up here and have been a Badger and now coach here. But it's a pretty special place to be a student athlete.
That's great. Well, Coach, I really do appreciate the time. Wish you the best of luck in the fall season, and we'll have to keep an eye and see how you and the new staff does, and wish you nothing but the best.
Appreciate it, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.